Hello there guys and welcome back to Reborn with Michael. Today I am talking about how I shifted identities and manifested absolute success and peace, harmony, love in my marriage and all good things. And I'm going to tell you how I did it exactly. If you like Spirituality Simplified, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Also, if you find this video helpful, comment down below. It would be a pleasure to chat with you and ask any questions you want. I try and get back to them all as much as I can. So guys, let's talk about it. Oh, first things first, I do have a free Facebook group if you want to connect with me more on there. I make sure to message everyone and chat to people and help them out there. So come and join my free Facebook group too. Okay, that's linked in the description. So how did I change and shift identities to manifest great success? Well, I'm going to tell you. There's an idea that comes to mind now from this vantage point where I am now, that the value that you see yourself as, you're only ever going to get the value that you see yourself as. No one is ever going to pay you, promote you, or do anything unless you see yourself as that thing. And when I look back over my career in the past as an actor in Jersey Boys and becoming the lead role there, I remember saying to them when they were asking me what I wanted to do, I was the understudy. And I said, well, you need to give me the role or I'm leaving the show. That's it, basically. So again, there's a statement there that says I have value. Then I lost that idea when I left being an actor because I wanted to be with my children, and I was inspired through the pain that I'd felt in those years to become a coach. But I couldn't perceive the value of myself at that time. You see, so I went through a lot of pain and a lot of hardship because I didn't see my value. I was living in the concept of fear all the time. So the point of how did I shift identities from that to this? Well, the first things first is you need to make a decision about where you're going to go. You know, and it doesn't have to be a specific place. It can be a general place like success, peace, harmony, these things. And then you need to understand, are the ways that I'm acting now coherent with where I want to go and who I want to be? Are the habits of my actions that? Now I'm talking about the habitual actions. Yeah. And then it's amazing how you then, when you change those, you're compelled to create new, more sustainable, brilliant habits for your continued growth and success. So let's dive into it, basically. So it's better for me to start at the vantage point of where I was in pain. So I was there, I took the pressure of being a father and being a provider, and I let go of the identity of being an actor. This one is very good for people who have maybe changed from employment to entrepreneurship, or they've got a new family and they're struggling with what that looks like, or they're changing careers. This is a point where I was at. My whole identity had collapsed because I'd packed my identity into being an actor and into being a performer. So it was like, once you let go of that, you're like, who am I? Who am I? And actors do it a lot, but we all do it in our work. If you've trained to be an accountant, you're like, I'm an accountant, you know, and that's what I do. That's who I am. But it's usually, especially around people who are in passion projects, you know. So you identify as that. So someone who says I'm an entrepreneur, they identify as it. And if they fail, then their whole world collapses. That's what I'm saying. So my world kind of collapsed, and I went into what I thought was a safe job in sales, and it just wasn't for me after 9 months. So it was like I quit, because I won't go into the bigger details of why I quit, but I quit. And I did it unceremoniously. You know, I'm like, I have nothing. And it was the middle of COVID as well. And it was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to do this? But I suppose it was that leap of faith I had to take. But the point being is then I had to face a lot of pains in me. We moved country, we did these things, and a lot of action was taken outside of myself to try and make things better. But actually that was a false idea. That was just a false action. I shouldn't have taken those actions to do something to feel better. I didn't realize the divine truths at that time. So how I actually changed my identity was I started to realize my reactions, my way that I experience and react to life is indicative of someone who's a victim. someone who doesn't succeed, someone who's constantly failing and having to fight, because anytime anything went wrong, the whole world was collapsing. Anytime there was a challenge, it was painful. And I started to realize I'm making a god of everything outside of myself. I started to listen in to Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard and Joe Dispenza and actually the Bible, and I started to read and realize that everything outside of me is able to control me. The looks I'm getting, the client who didn't want to sign up with me, I mean, it was like so painful, because everything was coming in and showing me that and it was making me feel pain. And what happened from that pain? There was just not the things working out as I wanted to. I wasn't getting paid enough. I was working really hard to no avail. Businesses I was putting out there, ideas I was putting out there would hit and never land, and it would just start to get more and more tiring. Yeah, you hear me, right? So from there, I was like, okay, now this is where I need to make a change. The way that I changed my identity was to realize I've had enough of feeling this way, because my feelings are ruling my life. So I want to become the master of my emotions. So the first step to change your identity towards great success is to master your emotions, especially around finances. I started, as I realized that's where all my pain and fear was coming from. I didn't feel good enough as a dad because I wasn't providing the life that I wanted to provide for my children. I didn't feel like I was providing the life that my wife deserved. And I used to just carry constant guilt, fear and shame and all these things around. And this is the real deal. So if you're looking for success, and especially I'm talking from the point of view as a husband, it can be a wife, a mother, it can be a solopreneur. It doesn't matter. I'm talking from my truth, but you can see yourself in these truths, right? You're reactive, you're guilty, you think you should be somewhere else that you're not. It's all a feeling. So I realized my feelings are ruling me. But what is this life? What is this life? It's an illusion, man. And it's an illusion made up of my feelings. And my feelings aren't directed towards peace, harmony, and success. They're directed towards pain and hardship and trying to fix things and just get by and do that and do this. So it was the mere fact of starting to sit with those feelings, becoming the observer of those feelings, scanning through my body every time I had a reaction. Dr. Joe Dispenza taught us about this all the time as well. So trust me, it's the awake time outside of the meditation. Yes, I would meditate, affirm and visualize, but it was those awake times. So it was the times when my wife would say, can we stay at this hotel tonight because my mum's visiting? And I'd go, and I'd just sit with the feeling, let it go, and I'd let it go. And I'd feel peace and I'd say yes. And then when I went to pay, I instead of paying with fear and lack, I would pay with love. And I would say, this comes back to me multiplied. And literally that same day, a client would reach out and say, I want to work with you. And they paid me triple what I paid for the hotel. So it was going that way. And then the mad part is once it started to shift that way, and I was getting amazing results for my clients, and they were really prospering, and I would celebrate in their prospering and their healings and all of this. I started to realize that I live the way that I'm preaching. Then it started to come to me that I was attracting even more wonderful clients, and they started to inspire me. And I was brought out to work with some millionaires, and I realized the state of being that they are was that they normalized wealth, they normalized success. How do you normalize it? Well, you normalize it by having no emotional reaction towards the lack of the thing that you want, because you expect it always to be replenished. And so I started to live in the expectancy of my money being multiplied and my value increasing. So then you start to lift yourself up, and I was divinely guided and drawn to a wonderful business coach, and he looked at me and said, what are you doing? Your value, you are so much more valuable than this. But I was scared of that value. So again, had to face the fear of that value. And you observe that value, that fear again, and you let it go and you take the action anyway. And you continue to gently move forward in the actions of someone who is where you want to be. So that was non-reactive, expectant of money to be multiplied and increase, expecting of things to go well. And then as time's gone on as well, it's like now my body has become a place where I want to be fit, healthy, and in the best shape of my life. I was compelled not to drink and other things like this, but that's not necessarily what you have to do. But I'm saying my identity started to shift into my vision of someone of success. Now you sit in the idea of your value as it's so natural. It's so natural to my value should be that way. And you do it through navigating your emotions over time. Now, for me to make a big shift, it took between 6 and 12 weeks, but then it compounded over the years, you see. So make the change today. Make the change today to have had enough of how you're feeling. Okay, to be the observer and to know that every time you let go of a sensation or a feeling and then you reaffirm that which you want, you start to create the new identity. You start to create a new personality, and that personality will be one of success, because do you know what? I can say it now. Success is from within. I say that from authenticity and truth. Success is from within. Now, if you're struggling in your business, notice how much you've made a god of your business. If you're struggling to pay your bills, notice how much you've made a god of those bills. And when I say made a god of them, I'm saying it's so emotionally reactive towards them. Bills are what they are. They want to be paid. Yes, I'll pay them. But then that leaves me with nothing. Meaningless, because God will multiply it back to me. That's how you grow in faith. That's how you change your identity. Now I sit in the idea of a faithful, valued man. And you can do it too. You can do it too if you believe in it. Believe in it, believe in it, believe in it, my friends. You must find that belief. And you do it by navigating your emotions. If you want me to explain it more, comment down below. But if you feel like this is the message you needed to hear, give me a hell yeah in the comments. I'll see you at the next one, guys. Thank you so much.